community radio station.
93Q.
Coming to you from the Hart Building in historic downtown Marysville. Getting into all the dirt from the Gridiron game, it's time to huddle up with your host, Adam Avalos.
Welcome to Huddle Up on 93Q. I'm your host, Adam Avalos. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here. Super excited to have you. You just heard Mike Tirico, I believe that's the announcer's name. Mike Tirico, the doink for the division. Last night, the Kansas City Chiefs played the Chargers. Another game, we're thinking Chargers, maybe they can win this game, squeak one out here. And then the Chiefs go down. I don't know, like if it's Lady Luck or what is going on, but they doink one. It hits the crossbar, bounces in. What do you guys think? Chiefs impressive. Kelly, Chiefs got a little magic on their side this season?
Hey, the Chiefs always come up smelling like roses.
Oh, yeah, that's all right. We got a little technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Chiefs always come up smelling like roses, huh, Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, they must have a four-leaf clover in their back pocket because every week now.
Yeah.
They seem to pull it out.
Yeah, I mean, divisional game always kind of tough there, and the Chiefs end up pulling it out. I mean, the same way they've won so many games this season.
15 straight games winning by only one score.
Mm-hmm. 15 straight games?
15 straight.
Wow. Yeah. I kind of thought about them. I was like, you can't do it. But I was kind of thinking, so I'm not going to, so I could tell you guys. But I was thinking maybe the Chiefs are my fire alarm. Maybe because just like the way they're winning the games, it doesn't signify maybe a Super Bowl run is upon us. I mean, they're winning them, and gutting them out is part of being a Super Bowl champion. You got to be able to, exhibit the ability to do that. But most of the time, Super Bowl champions kind of stomp some people out through the regular season, and the Chiefs just seem to keep barely squeaking by. What do you think, Ryan?
Been the story of 15 weeks of me watching it.
Yeah, I know.
Can't stand the Chiefs, dude.
I know, huh?
But I got to give it to them last night. I mean, they went for it on a fourth down to continue the drive so that the Chargers would not get the ball back. Yeah. That was gutsy. They were already in field goal position.
Exactly.
They could have kicked it there. And then it's just, like you said, the storyteller. I mean, they've winning by blocked field goals. They're winning on muff snaps. Now we're winning off upright doinks. Like, I don't know what else we can write in the script if it's scripted, but man, they are just getting by.
But the one thing you never say about the Chiefs is, oh, that was bad time management at the end of the game.
Exactly. Right? It was amazing.
They always make the right decisions. They always do the right thing.
I was thinking the same thing last night, just watching the end of the game.
Yeah.
Here they're sitting there marching, and they're making those plays. They're making sure that clock goes down. They get the fourth down. I'm watching Andy Reid. We're ready to call that last timeout. And most coaches, they don't want to fumble or something and be like, timeout. They always call it at like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
He's like, one. Boom. Like, he's so good, he's got it down to the 1.
They got it down. There's no team in the NFL that's even close to as scary as them with like 38 seconds left. You're up by 6 points, 38 seconds left. You pretty much lost. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're coming back. Like, that's what Brady used to do, man. They'd be out of a game like at halftime. They could be getting their butt whooped, and then somehow they'd come back. That Super Bowl that they came back against Atlanta, how many people just didn't even watch the second half and then woke up from a nap like a few hours later and are like, what the heck? Tom Brady came back? I mean, that's just how they do it. That's Mahomes obviously is great, but I was thinking they picked a good season. Like, if we were talking about, is it scripted? Is it like, I think everybody kind of agrees there's something there. I don't know if it's like totally scripted or what, but they picked a weird season then after last year when people are already like, Taylor Swift and all these conspiracies. And then this year the Chiefs like win every game by like a point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's not helping that, storyline. I don't know. But, last night's game was for the division. Los Angeles Chargers, they now can't win the division, but they're still a good team. The Denver Broncos are a really good team. Some teams that are going to make the playoffs probably. What did you think about that victory last night, Keegan, and the Chiefs? Already, we saw 4 games left to play, and they've already won their division.
Oh, yeah. Again, another clutch season from... I mean, regardless of the fact that they're winning by just 1 score, that was a really good stat, actually. Yeah. They're winning.
Yeah.
And they find a way. So you may say, well, it had to come down to this or this or this. But, I mean, they are the mark of a great team is finding a way to win when you're in a situation where you may lose.
Yeah.
So no, it's another solid stat line. Well, not solid stat line, but a solid game from them.
Yeah, I just wonder if when the playoffs come, they have lost one game now. A few games they maybe could have lost, but when the playoffs comes, will they be able to string together 4? You know what I mean? Because everybody's going as hard as they can. I guess maybe they'll only have to do it 3 because they're probably going to get the bye here, right?
Right. Yeah,
Arrowhead,
2 games up.
Is Arrowhead that much of a? Do you think that's a good home field advantage? It's very loud there, right?
The only thing is Buffalo. They
Yeah.
play in the same type of weather, so they're not going to be.
They already beat them in Arrowhead.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I think Arrowhead is a nice stadium. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the European sort of like
Yeah.
soccer stadium
Yeah.
vibe with the singing, and it seems like a really nice
I don't
stadium
think
to watch.
anymore, but like 5, maybe 10 years ago, it was the largest stadium in the NFL. It holds like 60,000 people. Arrowhead does.
It's loud.
Yeah,
I used to
and
work
when they
there.
all get going with the the chop or whatever they do, yeah, it gets crazy. But
I've worked a couple of the Chiefs games when we were in the military. They used to let us come do fan assistant, give us like $40.
Really?
Let us
Oh,
watch
wow.
the game.
It was
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
yeah, the people there.
That's when
in
they
Kansas
weren't very
City.
good, though.
Actually, that was this. I'm aging myself, but that was the year the Rams had won the Super Bowl.
What Rams? L.A. or St. Louis?
They were St. Louis, and so they came into Kansas City. They were like 8-9-0. The Chiefs weren't even 500 and beat them.
Yeah.
The Chiefs won.
Oh wow.
Since we're kind of here on the topic, want to deep dive a little bit into your division. Obviously, the Raiders are not making the playoffs this year, but everybody else in the division is probably making the playoffs this year. What do you kind of think about the Chargers? Like, Herbert this year with Harbaugh. Just want to touch on that real quick. Do you think the Chargers are going to make a splash, or do you think they're a one and done in the playoffs type team? Right now, they're currently in the 6th. They're tied with 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th with Houston, Baltimore, the Chargers, and the Denver Broncos are all sitting at 8-5. So they're probably going to get in. What do you think, the tops is for the Chargers this season?
I think if they get in, they might not be past the first round.
Yeah, first round
yesterday's
exit
game
team.
was a really kind of a telltale sign of it. They did come back. They
Yeah.
made it a game, but man, if they would have played a complete game and actually showed up in the first half, they probably could have killed that game.
Yeah.
They didn't score anything in the first half.
I think they really struggled with that lad McConkey as well. I think that was definitely a missing element in the passing game. And then losing J.K. Dobbins as well with, Gus Edwards and Fidel. They haven't really given him a good go yet.
Yeah.
I'd rather go him than Gus Edwards, but I think those two things are really missing.
Some teams are going to be able to lose a guy or two and still kind of carry on. The Chargers were one of those teams. They needed to be at full strength to be able to compete with some of these guys.
The positive thing I take from this year is Harbaugh came in there and changed the culture.
Yeah.
He's let these guys know we're going to win some games and we're going to do it the right way. I'm not going to be out here letting you guys put sweat and tears on the field and then make stupid calls.
Yeah.
I think this year is a positive if they can just get into the playoff, get a little feel for, get some experience. And then next year, they're going to be right in the hunt.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think they'll be in the hunt for a while now.
Yes, exactly.
Herbert, he can spin the ball. He's a good quarterback. We're going to move forward with, Broncos. You guys like Broncos? Broncos better than the Chargers? You think they got a better chance? I feel like they do. I feel like the team is overall better.
I think
they got
so,
a running
too.
game, and Bo
Defense.
Nix is like,
Yeah, that defense
I don't know,
is
man.
very
I
good.
don't
Yeah,
want to see Bo Nix, man.
their
Like
defense
he seems unflappable. You would like to play him?
No. I want to see him go off.
I want to see him go off. But if I'm playing in the playoffs, he just seems to me like he has nothing to lose, whether he wins or whether he balls out, and he's just going to go out there and sling it. I think Bo Nix could be a guy in a few years, like a guy that's competing with these dudes. Like that Mahomes is like you're thinking about Josh Allen and Burrow and Lamar Jackson, and then all of a sudden this kid Bo Nix comes. It's like, dang man, this kid's kind of throwing a wrench in my
But
plans
he
here.
reminds me of a Joe Burrow,
Yeah, no, yeah.
He's
He
got
seems
that
like
swag.
he seems like he's like 35 years old. When they interview him, he doesn't seem like a kid.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the AFC West is stacked with 3 great coaches and 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
My lovely team is struggling.
Honestly, AFC is probably the cream
Get
of
a
the
high
crop
draft
right now.
pick.
There's some great teams in the AFC. Even like some of the guys that are like 8-5 here, much better than what the NFC has to offer. I mean, the NFC has Detroit and probably like Philadelphia, but the Vikings, I don't know, they could be a little bit sus. I mean, we don't know how they're going to do in the playoffs.
I know how
the
they're gonna do.
Packers, how they're going to do in the playoffs.
The Vikings,
Yeah.
as long as Darnold is the quarterback, they're hot and cold.
Yeah.
1 week he's going to be Joe Namath, and the next week he's going to be this year's Aaron Rodgers.
And we talked about it. You got to be able to string it. You got to be able to string it along for 4 games. That's the thing that people don't understand.
Yeah.
You could be like a really good team. Like the Ravens' downfall in the postseason have been they can't string it together long enough, and then they hit one opponent that they can't beat.
Well, and the Vikings are going to have to play all the games because as of right now, it's panning out the Lions are going to have the bye, which is their division.
Exactly.
So they're gonna win the division and take the bye, and the Vikings are going to have to play out of the wild card spot.
Yeah, I personally see the Vikings as a one and done. Want to move forward a little bit and talk about this game right here because I thought it was an interesting storyline. The game itself means nothing, but we're watching Monday Night Football. 7-10, the Bengals are losing to the Cowboys. We got 4 minutes and 16 seconds left in the first quarter. But I wanted to touch on this because this is a game that we're watching that should have been like a marquee matchup. This should have been a really, really awesome game. But here we are looking at the Bengals at 4-8 and the Cowboys at 5-7. They're both done. I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about where do you think they should go from here. Let's start with Kelly on the Cowboys. What do you think the Cowboys need to do next season to kind of... Micah Parsons, I saw in an interview, he said that he's leaning towards coming back. There's nowhere else he'd like to play. So they got Micah back. They're going to get CD Lamb. Dak will come back healthy. What else do they need to do, the Cowboys?
I'm Jerry Jones.
Yeah, Jerry Jones. You're Jerry Jones.
I go get Deion Sanders and I draft his son.
Well, isn't his son play quarterback?
Yes.
What do you do with Dak?
Okay.
All right, so Kelly's totally...
$60 million in the pocket.
Hey, it's the same thing the Cleveland Browns need to do with Watson.
I agree on that one.
Sometimes you pay somebody.
They just paid him this season. He only played like a few games.
Okay.
I wouldn't have paid him all that money neither.
I'm not a Dallas fan, but go out in the streets and ask the Dallas fans what they think.
Really?
They're going to say, let's get rid of Dak. I know my brother's a Dallas fan.
Maybe so.
And they want Shadur Sanders.
So you're getting rid of McCarthy then too. You're getting
he throw him out with the baby, throw the baby out with the bathwater.
All right. Anybody else got? You guys agree with that? That's not what I would personally do, but I don't think that's a bad strategy. It's a definitely all in on Deion Sanders. I think he is going to be a good NFL head coach.
He's not going to fall that far though.
Yeah.
Who Shadur?
Yeah.
He's top 5 right now. They're saying,
easily top 5.
Yeah,
hey, it's called trading up. You trade Dak to someone, get their draft pick.
The Giants might take him.
Do you think
the Giants, Jacksonville?
Do you think they're actually going to do that though? They're not.
No, I'm saying if I was Jerry Jones.
Okay. If you're Jerry
but he
Jones.
don't think rationally though.
Yeah. He's not too rational. I don't know that he's going to get rid of all the guys, but hey, that's
I hope he doesn't pitch that idea to the owners of the Raiders.
Yeah, exactly.
We're donezo.
We've talked about it a lot. Cowboys definitely need to find a running back. That's like mission number 1 of the offseason.
They have to find running game.
Yeah, they have to find some running game. The Bengals, we've talked about it a little bit. Joe Burrow's not the problem here, but they have a problem with Jamar Chase and Higgins and getting those guys back. And Burrow can only be as good as probably his wide receivers. I mean, those wide receivers definitely help him out.
You got to pay Chase, dude.
Yeah. So they're going to keep Chase.
Higgins is gone.
Higgins is gone. They're going to keep
ask
Chase.
For too much, so he's got to.
What else do they need to do though? The Bengals.
They got to shore up that defense.
That's what I was going to say.
This team is 4-8. They could be 8-4 because they have 4 weeks that they've only lost by less than 3 points, and one of them was an overtime to Baltimore. The second Baltimore loss was because they went for a 2-point conversion at the end of the game to win the game, and they didn't convert it. This team is really close. They just been on the losing end of the close games.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I mean, the team's playing great. Their defense can't hold nobody.
Yeah,
an edge rusher wouldn't hurt.
Yeah,
and someone that can put pressure on the quarterback, speed up the timing of the offense, something like that.
The offense is clicking.
Yeah.
And just to touch on it, I was telling these guys, and it looks like it already happened, obviously. Chase, all he had to do was make 1 catch tonight, and he's the first player in NFL history to have 80 receptions, 1,000 yards, and over 7 TDs in all 4 of his first years.
Yeah, Jamar Chase, he's heads and tails above the rest. I mean, him and Justin Jefferson, I mean, they're just like electric, you know what I mean? Like, and I talked about it last week, but their ability to do what they do with being a wide receiver, you know, you're not always just getting the ball. They need the quarterback, and Jefferson's doing it with Darnold, which is pretty impressive, right? I mean, he's just out there slinging it. But
I mean, technically, Jefferson's numbers look even better. He's had several quarterbacks. Chase is still playing with the same guy he played with in college.
Exactly. And a lot of people think Burrow's like,
Devontae Adams wanted to go back to his college quarterback just because of the chemistry.
Yeah, exactly.
And then went back to his other one.
We are going to go to commercial break. Come on back at 93Q. Join us on Huddle Up.
I'm Adam Avalos with eXp Realty. I'm a born and raised third-generation Yuba Sutter resident who has lived in the area all my life. My office is located at 1429 Calusa Highway in Yuba City, providing commercial and residential services to Yuba Sutter and Butte counties. Whether you are buying or selling, I promise to treat you and your friends and family like my friends and family. More information about Adam Avalos Realtor can be obtained by phone at 530-933-3541 or by following Adam Avalos Realtor on Instagram or Facebook.
As we enter the rainy season and hope for rain, but not too much, we are thrilled to say that in Yuba County, we've made a ton of progress in improving our levee system and reducing our flood risk. But there is still much more to do. At Yuba Water Agency, reducing flood risk is job number one. We are preparing now for more frequent extreme storms. We're already seeing them. And we just want you to know that we are working hard to reduce your risk even more. Learn more about what the future holds at yubawater.org.
Welcome back to Huddle Up on 93Q. We're about to we're going to do some deep dives on a lot of different topics today, but one of the things we're going to get into is the Raiders versus the Buccaneers game. I want to talk about a particular Raider, but really this is a deep dive about the Buccaneers. We're kind of, the postseason is getting close, so I want to hear your guys' take on, what the ceiling is for some of these teams. The Buccaneers are obviously a team, they're kind of on the cusp there. I think they're going to probably make the playoffs. There's a lot of things to like with Baker Mayfield. They lost Godwin earlier in the season, a horrific injury, but they still have Evans, and they're a gutsy football team. In fact, I can't really think of a more gutsy football team than that team. I mean, their talent level, maybe necessarily they shouldn't be positioned where they are, but yesterday you got to take a good look. We got Chunk in studio, we got Ryan, some Raiders fans. You got to take a good look at the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. We'll go to Ryan first. What do you kind of think about the Buccaneers after watching them yesterday? I know they beat the Raiders. That's kind of a bummer,
they beat the Raiders, but that was expected. I mean, with the win and Atlanta's losses, they're taking the lead in their division, which is a very close division. Honestly, I was not impressed with the Buccaneers yesterday. No. I mean, they grinded out a win against the Raiders. Yeah. When the Raiders ended up playing almost a whole half without another quarterback who went out with the injury and was carted off the field. So, I mean, now we're playing with Desmond Ridder, who we signed from Arizona a couple weeks ago when AOC went out the first time with his thumb injury. 3 turnovers by Baker Mayfield. I felt like he forced a lot of stuff. I didn't feel like he played a crisp game. These guys do, grind out the games, and I'm really impressed with the rookie running back right now.
What's the latest?
Oh, yes.
That guy looks awesome.
He hurt his back.
He got a little banged up, but he's running the ball. He's doing a fantastic job over there, and it's like, wow.
Latest with Aiden O'Connell?
A bone bruise.
Is he going to be able to play next week?
Possibility. So to me, the whole air cast sitting on the ground, I don't get the act, but maybe he was going for the flag that probably should have happened. I don't know if anybody saw the hit. Did anybody see it? It obviously was not a flag. It was 3 steps after he released the ball on a rollout that he got pushed in the back and hyperextended his knee.
Want to talk about, before we move forward off of the Raiders a little bit, and then, we're going to talk about the Buccaneers too, but Raiders, I want to highlight a specific guy, Brock Bowers. Everybody's talking about him. I mean, people are saying, best tight end in the league. We're looking, talking about him a little bit last week. I kind of was telling you I thought Kittle was a little bit better, but I don't know, this Brock Bowers guy, he might be the truth. Literally in the NFL, 4th in yardage, 933 yards in the NFL for a rookie tight end. What do you think about that? That's pretty impressive, right?
He broke the rookie tight end record for receptions. He has 88.
87 now. He needed 2 to tie it, 3 to break it.
So you guys watch the game. When you're watching him, is it just by virtue of nobody else being open, or he's the only, or is he just out
he's
there?
He's making one-handed grabs. Yeah. He's making grabs on the run. Dude, he's phenomenal.
He's a lot like a young Kelsey. He's unstoppable. He looks like a wide receiver out there, the way how agile he is.
Yeah.
And it was just like when he was in Georgia. They said he was Herb Street coached him in high school. He said when he came out of high school, he was ready to be in the NFL.
Yeah, he looks like it. I mean, a lot of rookie guys like that, they don't have. First thing that jumped out to me, I say this every time, was just his frame, his body. Like, he wasn't like a lot of the tight ends that come from college are a little smaller. Like, he's huge, wide, and quick.
And it took Laporta last year. It took him like 5 games before he really took off.
Yeah.
This guy came out from the jump.
Yeah, from the get-go.
And he breaks Laporta's rookie record, what was just set last week. And not only that, not only does he break the reception record for the rookies, he's actually leading the league with receptions over everyone.
Yeah. No, it looks like it. That's what I'm looking at here. Keegan, what do you think? Buccaneers, Raiders, any takeaways from that? Where do you think the Buccaneers, like, what's their ceiling? Like, how high can they go? Can they win a playoff
Can I add
game?
one thing to that?
Add it on.
To the Brock Bowers?
Yeah, add it on to it. This is Brock Bowers' flower time.
He's also done it with 3 quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. And each of them find them, because sometimes it could be where like another quarterback takes over, and then you're like, man, Brock was doing really good with like Minshew, and then Aiden O'Connell takes over, and then he goes crickets.
And actually,
because,
yesterday,
like, a certain guy likes
yesterday
him.
the Buccaneers took him out of the game. Most of the game was going to their tight end Myers yesterday.
Yeah,
he had actually more receptions, more yards yesterday.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Keegan.
Go ahead, Keegan.
I think the Buccaneers, all of us enjoy watching them just for the heart that they bring, especially Baker Mayfield. I think that he leads from the front.
Yep.
Do I think they'll make a deep push in the playoffs? I don't necessarily think so. I think that they also may be, as you said, maybe a one and done team. Maybe they'll gut out a win, but I don't think they'll go much further than that.
Yeah, they're probably in the worst division in football if you really break it down. I mean, 7-6, they lead the division over Atlanta, 6-7, New Orleans 5-8, and then Carolina at 3-10. I mean, their division's not that great. They're actually 4th in the NFC, but they're like 9th if they were just to make it wild card, because they're leading their division
leaders.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think they're one of those teams, like, they're probably going to be a one and done or two, but I mean, you can't put anything. Honestly, it'll probably be like in the last 2 minutes, and the Buccaneers will be driving, and they just won't be able to convert on a touchdown or something, but they'll be right there in that game.
Do you remember that Seattle Seahawks team that got in? They were under 500.
Yeah.
And they ended up beating, I think it was Minnesota.
No, they beat the Saints, right?
Was it the Saints?
No, with Drew Brees, I believe.
Yeah. This is the type of year that I think Baker could lift those guys to an upset, but that's their ceiling.
Yeah.
One game and done. So.
Hey, it'd be a little bit different if they're with Godwin in the lineup and full capacity.
But that McMillan, the rookie, he looked really good this
Their
weekend.
young talent that they drafted this year is looking nice.
But who could you see them like beat? Like, not Detroit, they won't play them first, but like Philly, Minnesota, Green Bay.
It's probably going to be Green Bay.
Yeah, you think they could beat Green Bay? Maybe.
Well, I'm just looking at who they
Green
might
Bay?
play
I don't think so.
because they're going to get the home field advantage in that first game. If
because they won their division.
As of right now, the Commanders are in it too. They could probably beat the Commanders.
Yeah,
I think they did. I like Green Bay.
You got to be licking your
well.
chops if you're looking at Seattle, though. We're going to talk about that later. We're about to do a Niners one, and then we're going to do a little NFC West deep dive. But you got to be licking your chops. That's that guy in fantasy football that made the playoffs, but like a bunch of his team members just got injured right before the playoffs. You're like, yeah, I hope I get to play him. Yeah, that's Gary over there. But we are going to get into a segment we call the Cool Kids Club. This is a segment every single week where we choose one player from the week of games, and we bestow upon them the name, the title of a cool kid in the Cool Kids Club. You get a jacket, all kinds of cool stuff. It's in the mail for those of you guys who haven't received yours yet. But go ahead, Ryan. Who you got? Who is your Cool Kids for the week?
I am picking a guy that joins and ties records with Jerry Rice and Randy Moss.
Ooh, that's always good. Anytime Jerry Rice
when you
and
got
Randy Moss.
names with that a part of your records, it's great. My guy tonight is Puka Nacua from the Rams. He went off last night, 12 catches, 162 yards, 1 TD, 5 rushes, 16 yards, and a TD. And if anybody was wondering to know, he joins Jerry Rice and a guy named Lance Allsworth from 1964, which was a long time ago, as the only receivers to have 160 yards and a TD and a rushing TD in a game, and ties Jerry Rice and Randy Moss as having the 5th game of over 150 receiving yards by a receiver in the first 2 years. So he can technically break that one.
Yeah, he's really, really, really good.
And he's missed time this year. That's what's crazy.
He needs to cut that hair though, man. It's crazy coming
That's
out
his
the back.
style,
It's
man.
it's like a honeycomb or something coming
Yeah.
out the back. It's like a foxtail.
And it's not even like Palomalu, it's not like it's just there.
Yeah, it's like
what
there.
is it?
Like it's like he just woke up. He's like he forgot to comb it. Didn't even take a shower, and it's just like
Yeah.
let's roll.
Yeah.
But he's gosh darn good, and they're lethal. Go ahead, Keegan. Who you got? Who is your cool kid for the week?
So my cool kid is actually a chap that I was lucky enough to pick up, Zach Charbonnet. So he filled in for Kenneth Walker this week.
Sounds like a bottle of wine.
Yeah,
It does, yeah.
Charbonnet. Give me the Charbonnet, please.
I'll take Charbonnet for 2 touchdowns.
Indeed, exactly what he had.
134 yards.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. Yes, exactly. And then he had 7 receptions for 59.
He's
So-
what added your big old butt whooping of Chunk over here.
It was quite a nice.
Oh my
little-
gosh, Chunk in the
last week.
and Keegan played this week, and it was a
a 100-point swing.
It was a 100-point swing. Yeah, he could have beat him twice. It happens. So hey, get it out this week, and next week you got the
Yeah,
playoffs.
playoffs start next
Chunk's
week,
like,
no
I'll be
worries.
getting the last laugh next week
Yeah.
when we. Keegan, you're like the 8th seed, right?
Yeah, he's sneaking
Yes,
in.
but I'm going to be the highest scorer.
You're the 8th seed and the highest scorer in the league.
I'll be.
Yeah.
That's like the
That's the
statistic
strategic
that
you don't
want
wanna play.
No. That's where mine is the best. I don't have the highest scoring, but I have the least points scored against me.
I have the most points against me.
That's the best one. Just take it easy on me over here. Take it easy.
Be easy.
Yeah, I was like,
Commissioner needs help.
Yeah, I should literally be in like 6th, 7th, 8th place, maybe even not even in the playoffs. But, anyways, all right. Well, Kelly, who you got? Who is your cool kid club this week?
So somebody I kind of was doubting all year, but Mike Tomlin, I was thinking
Huge
he
props.
should have stayed with Justin Field, but he went with
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
Yep.
And hey, this is 18 seasons, winning seasons. I mean,
Russell surprised us all, though.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But Tomlin had to have the cojones to put him out there because they were what 4-1 when he made the change, and
I think Tomlin gets guys pumped up, man.
Yeah.
I think he gets guys pumped up.
he did something.
Like if I was gonna have to go bare knuckle box somebody right now, I want Tomlin to give me the speech right before. There's no other way to describe it, man.
Or Dan Campbell, maybe.
Yeah, Dan Campbell maybe, but yeah,
he's biting off kneecaps.
he's got Russell Wilson pumped, man. I mean, they're playing good over there. The
Man,
Steelers,
they look good.
I got to tell you, we talked about it. What's your perfect scenario? And a lot of us picked like Josh Allen and the Bills. It was like Bills versus Lions, like all around. That's what we were kind of like, oh, that'd be great for the NFL. But my dark horse scenario would be like Russell Wilson and the Steelers just winning the Super Bowl in 2024, 2025.
They play Seattle.
That'd be they play Seattle. No, we want to play somebody decent. That's not even a watchable game right there. That's like watching
Ratings are down.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody.
No,
even
I want him to
watches
play the Chiefs and beat them. Destroy them.
it.
They can't, though.
The Seahawks.
No. Pittsburgh.
but he might get
AFC
to go against
championship.
Denver in the
AFC.
first round.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah. My cool kid is none other than our unanimous MVP. Ever since Ryan said that he's just been taken off, Josh Allen. How can you not? 342 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing attempts, 82 rushing yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns. That means he had 6 total touchdowns. But my second guy that I was going to go with, if it was like cool kids club, but just is, I was going to go with Puka Nacua, but I wanted to kind of piggyback on that. It's not just Puka, man. It's Cooper Kupp and Stafford.
Oh, yeah.
Those 3 guys, the Holy Trinity, bro, they're rolling, dude.
And that is
they
why Josh
are
Allen
rolling.
is
They
the
literally beat the
MVP.
Bills yesterday.
To
And
get
remember,
back to Josh Allen, though. Oh,
hey,
go ahead.
You told me at the beginning of the season that remember that we did an episode and I said that the Rams were going to top 40 at least 3-4 times this season. That yesterday was the only time they did it, but this was the team I was talking about, bro.
Oh, yeah.
They can score crazy points. They're like unstoppable whenever they get going. And so the Rams, Stafford, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, they got a thing going on over there. Nobody wants to see them in the playoffs. I promise you, first round. You do not want to see the Rams.
No. You know, unfortunately, Josh Allen has another MVP game to tack onto his, rankings over there. That's pretty much unanimous in my honest opinion. But he is the
NFL
only
all-time game.
Yeah.
The first player to
have 6 touchdowns.
to run for 3
and
throw for 3.
And he's the first guy to score 6.
Or 6, yeah.
And lose a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
the
they were
Bills.
saying He would have been a top 5 running back this week without his quarterback stats.
Dude, he's crazy good. That game, was so fun to watch.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, moving forward, onward and inward of the show. Now we want to talk about, I wanted to talk about fantasy football a little bit. It's not even something that I have on the thing, but I wanted to ask you guys what your place was in the league. Like, I'm currently sitting second in the league. I want to ask you guys about your fantasy football team, what you kind of like rolling into the playoffs and what you're very nervous of. I like my team. I feel like I put together a good, solid team top to bottom, but I had McCaffrey and I had Mason, and both of those guys got injured last week. And so now, whenever you have McCaffrey and Mason, you tend to neglect maybe your running back position a little bit because you feel like, all right, I got so much invested here. Now my running back room is in shambles. So I liked my chances like last week heading into the playoffs. I thought you got a good chance at this, but my running back depth is super, super, super thin, and now I'm not loving it. I'm probably going to have to start Ramondre Stevenson at one of my running back spots. Obviously, I still got Derrick Henry. I got Cooper Kupp and Stafford. They're coming along the right time. And Jawan Jennings and Brock Purdy and Kittle, they're all on my team. That has been awesome for me. You would think like normal years I don't like to have that many on the same team but those guys, they're holy trinities, man. They're just getting it done. Kelly, who do you like on your fantasy football team? Tell us what your standings are. What do you think about your odds of taking home the trophy this year?
So right now I'm in third place. I'm tied with the second place team. He has me outpointed. Looks like he's gonna win. I'm gonna win. So I'm gonna be the third. Unless the first place wins and I outscore him by 40, but that ain't going to happen either. So my team, though, I'm in third. I'll be in the playoffs. The guys that have been carrying me, Jackson Smith and Jigba, I picked up Charbonnet. He had a good game. And then Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp.
Lamb finally woke up today. He's got 16 points right now in the first half. So
yeah. What's your weakness on your team? You feel
my weakness is because I went 0 running back.
Yeah.
Because my receivers, I have Jackson Smith and Jigba, Adams, Kupp, Lamb. So I pretty much.
Kelly always has these crazy strategies. It's like, what are we doing this year? This year, I'm subscribing to a no running back. Like, what the hell? You know you have to put 2 in each position every week. But
don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it, baby. And you should all draft that Zamir White guy. He's for sure going to be. Anyways, who knows how it worked? But Keegan, who do you like? Where are you at in fantasy football? We play in the same league. Keegan, he kind of squeaked in last week. You got a big win over Jason because that was your competition down there at 8, but you kind of put him out, right?
No. I
put him out by 0.12 points.
Okay.
Okay. I thought we left this show thinking I thought I got my butt kicked, and then Jerry Judy went off for 36.
And it was just that one catch at the end. One catch at the end that got me through. So I'm in 8th place. I am the highest scorer. I have the most points against me.
That's crazy.
Been kind of an unlucky season in many ways.
There's a chance we play each other, right?
There's a chance.
There's a chance. Okay,
There's a chance.
Okay.
So of my team, I think, honestly, one of my better players has been Sam Darnold. He's had such a really good season. And then I picked up Tua, who Ryan rage dropped. So she looks very happy about. He's been very good too.
Why did you rage drop him, Ryan?
It was after
Dude, he
that
was
game.
throwing up gang signs in 3 weeks. I thought he was done for the season.
You didn't have no faith in him, huh?
No. And then I think I tried to trade for him back.
Yeah. That was me this week. It was like, dude, Niners, just put Mason on the IR. Stop doing this to me. You know what I mean? It's making me so irritated. But I never want to play I don't want to play Keegan. No. I don't want to play like 7 or 8 with nothing to lose, playing with house money, just rolling in there. It's like, if they lose,
highest scoring team, scoring over 200 points in the last week.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Forget all that. I don't want to play Keegan. All right, Ryan, what do you think?
You want to play me?
Yeah. I want to play Ryan.
I'm going to probably limp in. It looks like I'm going to jump over Chunk this week with the win against Dirtbag. But it looks like I'm going to go in at number 6 or 5 and play the number 4 team. I'm pretty weak in the running backs. I mean, I got Jahmyr Gibbs, which is my solid point, but Swift hasn't done much. And to be completely honest with you, my quarterbacks need to wake up and play. I have quarterbacks Ms. Horn, but they're just not doing it.
Who's your 2 starters?
I got Hurts and Geno Smith. They just have not produced these last couple weeks.
Talk about Geno. Geno's already got way too much time on this.
But I'm strong in the running. I'm strong in the receivers. So
I'm all salty. They're going to win the division. All right, Chunk. Chunk is behind the board here today. Chunk, who you got on your squad? Chunk's in our league as well. He's like in 3rd, 4th, 5th place or something like that. He's going to be in the mix. Who you got on your squad? How you feeling next week?
Well, I got 5th. I'm in 5th right now, so I'll drop 1. Right now I have the most points scored for. 5th scored against. Just saying, he might get me by a little bit.
I think I'll get you in
by a
this
little
season.
bit. But I got
these guys, they know.
I got Lamar Jackson. He sat out this week. I got Jared Goff as my quarterback, and then Russell Wilson always sitting on the bench.
Russell Wilson on the bench. Yeah, that's a good squad. That's
My
a good
whole
squad.
team is, I think, fairly well-rounded. I got a lot of good running backs, decent receivers. I've only one time I think I've scored below like 120 points, and then a few games I've lost between like 10 and like 1 point. Like Ryan last week.
This will be a tough year to try to win.
I think on paper your team might be the best in the league. It is very, very strong.
It's
You've
decent,
got some
but
great running backs too.
I've had some goose eggs. I've had some bad weeks, or like
Sure.
Jared Goff scoring 10 points.
I just hope you
starting
sleep in
him.
on the night and forget to put someone in.
Yeah. But I'm hoping this is my year, but I'm not.
Yeah,
not
you
gonna
got a
push
good
it.
squad.
Before we go to commercial break, let's get to everybody's fire alarm. Want to get to that. This is a segment every week where we choose one person that, is not doing so good that we want to just bring some negative attention to. Crawl in a hole. You won't like getting the fire alarm pulled on you. But Ryan, who you got? Who you want to pull the fire alarm on this week?
I'm going to actually pull it on a team that's winning.
All right, a winning team. Here we
winning
go.
team.
This is going to be a hot take here, boys and girls.
I am pulling. Yeah, here we go. Right.
Yeah, here we go. I love the hot takes.
I'm pulling it on the Eagles passing attack.
Really, Eagles passing attack. All right, we don't think
This
we got
last
some
week,
problems there.
the last week they threw for 108 yards. The week before, week 13, 112 yards. And the week before that, 167 yards. So the last 3 weeks, they've thrown for a total of 387 yards and only 4 touchdowns. This team is winning. This team is riding on the run game. They're making themselves one-dimensional going into the playoffs, and I don't like it.
You don't like that.
They have receivers. They have 2 good receivers in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Grant Smith has been out a few times this year, but you got to start bringing that back in, or you're going to be one-dimensional walking into the playoffs, and it's going to be one and done.
Yeah. So you don't. So you see. I've always thought that the Eagles, they're like silently, but they're going to really be there at the end, and they'll be tough to beat. But you think if they don't figure out some
They don't
stuff,
figure it out, they're going to do what they did last year and flunder at the end.
Yeah. I feel like with the Eagles, losing Kelsey was huge. Like just losing your center like that.
The
He was
tush
such
push isn't as good.
No, it's
speaking of
not.
Kelsey.
The tush
No, yeah,
push
it's
isn't
not.
as good.
Yeah,
but,
definitely not as good.
Their running attack is great with Traquan, and I get it, but they're leaning on it too hard. And I just think in this NFL, if you make yourself one dimensional, as the Raiders and the Cowboys have done, you see where they're at.
Yeah. I'm going to piggyback off yours, and then we'll go to these two guys because mine's very similar. I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 12-1. I just want to say, to the Chiefs, if I was watching them and I was like somebody in charge with the Chiefs, I'd say, all right, we're winning games here. That's good. But we're going to need to even get better because the way we're winning games here is it's like coin flip type stuff.
Yep.
And I don't know if we could do it in the playoffs. I think the Chiefs are maybe not as good as they've been previous seasons, even though their record is really good. I want to say lucky because to win games in the NFL, it takes skill. But a lot of things have fallen their way, and it's not always going to fall your way in the playoffs. I think they gotta their offense is a little bit stagnant at times too, and I don't think Mahomes is having as Mahomes-ish of a season.
You're pretty much pigging what Mahomes said 2 weeks ago before the Raider game. They need to come out and they need to totally whoop up on somebody.
Yeah, they
to
do.
get it out of their system,
That's
to show
it.
people that they're there, and then they've escaped 2 games back to back with a bad snap and a boink.
That's it.
Field goal.
That's it. I mean,
So-
it's not odd for a team to get close to other teams in the National Football League sometimes and lose a game that way. But usually there's some butt whoopings from
that's
a
what
team
they-
that. Keegan, who you think? Who you going to pull the fire alarm on this week?
So I'm going to pull the fire alarm on the Arizona Cardinals.
I like these ones. I like these ones this
They've
week.
dropped their last 3 games now. Seahawks, Vikings, Seahawks. They seemingly were in control of the division.
Yep.
They were looking legitimate.
Welcome to the NFC West.
Yeah, exactly.
I know it's
Exactly.
it's terrible, really. But anyways, it seems like Kyler. When they don't establish the run, Kyler tends to struggle. McBride maybe being the only part of that passing game that really works for them. I know they've got a little bit out of Marvin Harrison Jr., but they haven't really unlocked him.
No.
It just doesn't seem like a great situation, and their season just seems to be slipping away from them, where they look like they may actually be contenders.
Yeah, they were looking kind of scary there for a while, and I'll tell you, I don't think they're a team that anybody kind of wants to play in the playoff just for the wild card aspect of Kyler Murray. But yeah, I mean, they're not. What they've built isn't sustainable. They're not.
Exactly.
Then yesterday there was lots of people I saw on Twitter X or whatever that were kind of saying the Kyler thing is not going to work out like long term. Like
Go
he's
back
too
to
much
baseball.
Yeah, like he deserves to be on a team that doesn't win any games, and then they just add a Kyler Murray to the roster to win a few.
Yeah.
You know, like that's how he is. He's more like I don't know, like a spectacle type player, you know, and rather than like, you know, the quarterback that's going to take your team to the Super Bowl. But what do you think, Kelly? Who you got? Who you pulling the fire alarm
Man,
on?
if you didn't know the names of the teams, it's the exact same team. The Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
You know, they started off great.
Yep.
Same thing like Keegan. Their last 4 games they've dropped. Cousins. The Atlanta fans, they don't like that.
He was my fire alarm last week.
Yeah. And they look awful. I mean, he looks awful.
He does.
And he's not throwing the ball to Kyle Pitts like all of us fantasy owners want him to.
Yeah, no,
And
absolutely.
their running game's inconsistent, even though, you know, they try to use the 2 backs.
Yeah.
I think they should go more with Bijan.
In a division that's theirs for the taking. Like if they wanted to win that division, it'd be easy to do so.
Yeah.
I mean, Buccaneers are winning.
And they're proving
one
me
game.
wrong right now. They're my dark one to say
Yeah.
they're going to make the playoffs
I know you
this
guys.
year.
You guys.
They
chose
were
them
up by
early-
3
early
games.
on.
They've lost 4 games in a row.
4 in a row.
Yeah.
They were up 3 games and lost.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, come on back for the third segment. We got a lot of fun stuff. We're going to talk about the Niners and the Bears. Huddle up on 93Q.
With World Radio News, I'm Kent Covington. Thousands of Syrians celebrating the ouster of the Assad regime. Celebratory gunfire echoing through the streets after a stifling, nearly 14-year civil war. In Washington, Republican Congressman Joe Wilson says the world is now a better place with Bashar al-Assad chased out of Syria.
The fall of the Assad dictatorship, it's truly, I believe, equivalent to the Berlin Wall, which led to a ripple effect of dozens of countries becoming free.
Officials say Assad's ouster means that Russia is losing access to a warm water port and Iran is losing supply lines to the Hezbollah terror group in Lebanon. Assad is taking refuge in Russia, which granted his family asylum. Moscow's forces helped to prop up the Assad regime for years. President Biden said on Sunday,
"At long last, the Assad regime has fallen. This regime brutalized and tortured and killed literally hundreds of thousands of innocent Syrians.
But plenty of questions remain. The rebels who defeated Assad's forces are made up of a coalition of groups banded together to overthrow the regime. And the strongest group in that coalition is known as HTS, which the U.S. has designated as a terror group. Biden said the United States will do what it can to achieve stability in Syria.
Looking ahead, the United States will do the following. First, we'll support Syria's neighbors, including Jordan, Lebanon, Iraq, and Israel, should any threat arise from Syria during this period of transition. I will speak with leaders of the region in the coming days.
The rebels face the daunting task of healing bitter divisions in a country still split among armed factions. One rebel commander, though, said, "We will not deal with the people the way the Assad family did." And President-elect Donald Trump weighed in, saying that the United States should have no involvement in Syria, adding, quote, "This is not our fight." The Secret Service has kept too many secrets from Congress. That's according to lawmakers on both sides of the aisle who served on a House task force investigating the agency's failures, which very nearly led to the assassination of Donald Trump. Democratic Congressman Jason Crow.
Their response is, this is an ongoing criminal investigation, and we can't give that information to Congress. That, in my view, is an unacceptable position.
That task force held its final meeting last week, and Republican Congressman Mike Kelly told CBS's Face the Nation.
The whole goal from day one is to restore the faith and trust and confidence that the American people must have in this agency. At this point, it's probably at the lowest ebb it's ever been.
In testimony last week, acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe conceded that the agency failed its mission. For World Radio, I'm Kent Covington. For more sound journalism grounded in facts and biblical truth, visit WNG.org.
Additional support comes from Dordt University. Student musicians at Dordt enjoy opportunities to discover, develop, and share the gift of music and bring glory to God until all is made new.
From community-supported 93Q, here's your local weather forecast. Tonight our skies will be mostly clear, with a low around 33, and with a northwest wind at 3 to 8 miles an hour. Then sunny tomorrow, with a high near 56, and a light and variable wind. And Wednesday will be partly sunny, with a high near 56. A ridge of high pressure will continue to dominate our weather pattern through midweek. Our temperatures will feel cooler, but still above normal. Plus, those north winds will be lighter. Then changes will come around Thursday, when high pressure begins to move east, making way for a Pacific frontal system moving down from the north. This weather forecast is sponsored by Yuba Water Agency at yubawater.org. Investing in forest management for a healthy watershed. For 93 Community Radio, I'm Kurt Baird. Thanks for listening, and have a good evening.
Welcome back to Huddle Up on 93Q. We got our first Fire Alarm and Cool Kid Club / Cool Kid Club initiate ever for the week. Jameis Winston, he was a cool kid in the first half, and in the second half, he got the fire alarm pulled on him. That was last week's game. We left from here. We're like, yeah, Jameis, he can beat anybody. Then he throws like 2 terrible interceptions in the red zone, like to end that game. Yeah, pick 6. Yeah, it was just ugly. We are going to get into the Niners a little bit. We're going to do an NFC West deep dive. Give you my thoughts, what I kind of thought about Caleb Williams. Got a chance to see him. Niners, a pretty decisive victory over the Chicago Bears yesterday. It was good to see. I personally thought the Niners looked good. I mean, George Kittle reasserting his, dominance there. He's been Brock Purdy's safety blanket all year long. Without Kittle, they are in big trouble. If you ask me, what's one guy that you think the Niners could least afford to lose for this week's game?
Don't say it.
It would be Kittle.
Don't say it.
It'd be
karma.
At this point, the karma.
You see the announcers with kickers and all that. You don't say stuff that on the air.
Well, Kittle he's probably the MVP of the entire team this season. Without them, their offense has been really stagnant. They're able to play off him for the play action and Jennings. Gosh, I mean, you can't say enough good things about the guy. I mean, every single week he just brings it. And after they lost Ayuk, the wide receiver room looking pretty dire, and obviously we know my feelings towards Debo this season. He hasn't had the most Debo type year, so they need guys. And so Kittle, Jennings, it was awesome to see them play well yesterday. Love those guys. I mean, you can't help but root for them. They're football guys. What do you think of the game, Keegan? Gonna go with you. I know you like the Niners. They beat the Bears.
Yeah, no, I was happy. It was nice to see Garendo actually play quite well and then immediately injure himself.
Yes.
And I think that's our 5th or 6th running back now.
Yeah, 15 to 78, 5.2 yards and 2 touchdowns for Garendo.
He looked handy.
Yeah, he did look good.
And he's quick.
Yeah,
he's really quick.
He's very quick. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just overall played better. Defense played better. I was kind of surprised that it ended up being 38-13, if I'm honest, because the Bears came in with playing some pretty decent football. I mean, they only just sort of narrowly lost to the Lions.
They just don't play the first half.
Yeah.
The Niners did what they did, though, in seasons past when they were a good football team. They didn't take the gas off. They just kept going. To where this season we've seen a few games where they get up like 10 points, and then all of a sudden Kyle Shanahan wants to get away from the play action and just run the football, but like I formation, like halfback dives, like stupid stuff. I think this week because he had Garendo and the Patrick Taylor guy, he thought, all right, I need to get creative here. And that's what he should have been doing with like McCaffrey and Mason when they were there. Not that they were running bad, but this week was like, that was the Kyle Shanahan that the 49ers got. That was the play calling that we're accustomed to seeing from him. Some trickeration, guys in motion, things like that. And I really liked the game plan that I saw out of him this week. But what do you think, Ryan? Niners
319 to 4 yards the first half.
Yeah,
the 2 tails of the teams. Oof. I mean, you can't come back from that. It was 24-0 by half, and the Bears had 4 yards.
Yeah.
They punted all 5 possessions, no turnovers, which they just put themselves in a hole. That's a horrible outing for the Bears. The Niners got a nice, perfect win that they needed right now in the time of the year. Still keeps them alive in the division. This division is anybody's I can't tell you who's going to win this division.
Yeah.
I mean, you can flip a coin right now, and you can flip a coin next week. It's still going to be a flip coin.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And we're definitely gonna. I want to do an NFC West deep dive because there's a lot to talk about. I feel like with the NFC West right now. But what did you think? Did you watch any of the game, Kelly? Or what are you seeing so far from Caleb Williams? Obviously, a big story coming in. I got to see him yesterday. Obviously watched the whole game. Got to kind of scout him out or see what I see. Guy throws a really nice football, very catchable. Not like the craziest amount of velocity, but perfectly catchable. And it was always on the money. But one thing that I saw is that they brought up how few interceptions that he has. And then the announcers were saying, they've watched a few games him play. This is only my first full game. I've seen highlights, but where he just will not force a ball into bad coverage, which is like a good thing, but also a bad thing. He got sacked quite a few times yesterday by pretty much nobodies on the Niners. And so I think that's a theme with him. He will not throw an interception, but he's probably going to take some more sacks because of it, because he just won't force it in there.
Well, the problem is the line. We've been talking about their line all year, right?
Yeah.
That's what we were saying about Justin Fields. He didn't have a good line. He was running for his life. If you watched him, he was scrambling a lot.
Yeah, he was.
They could not sit him in the pocket because the Niners, like you said, they didn't even have their top players.
No.
And they were putting heat on him almost every passing play. He was running out to the right, running out to the left, getting 3 yards. He looked like he was running almost every other pass play. So he didn't have any interceptions, but I just think he didn't throw the ball down the field much either.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Any thoughts on you watching him, Keegan? You like what you see? I mean, I actually over the past few weeks watching them actually in some games that they've lost have gained more respect for them and then the games that they won, because I talked about it. They had a pretty easy schedule early on, but he's played pretty good in some games.
Yeah, no, I think, as we had said before, I think he's a talented guy. I think as he's starting to get more used to being in the NFL, I think he will grow. I think that as a team, they have a lot of good pieces. It's just about gelling, getting that time together, and then hopefully next season they can take a little bit of a bump. I do think he should take maybe a few more risks.
Yeah.
He's got some really good receivers.
Yeah, you gotta throw him in there sometimes. It's not about I'll keep my streak alive for not throwing an interception if you're just getting sacked all the time.
Hey, they should give him like Jameis Winston's highlights.
And tell him just go for it.
Before we cut out the interceptions.
Highlights, not lowlights.
We're running out of time here. Yesterday, the Niners obviously won. That's good to keep them in it because mathematically they're still alive. I've seen a million things that's like, oh, this has to happen and this has to happen. But essentially what has to happen is they need to beat the Rams this Thursday. It's a guaranteed. If they don't win this game, they're out if they don't beat the Rams. But also, Seattle took a 2-game lead over the 49ers, and I believe they hold the tiebreaker. I'm not really sure how that works, but the Niners beat them the first time Seahawks beat them. I'm super bummed here, man, because the Seahawks they're 8-5. They won some early games, but gosh, man, I just don't like that coming out. I'd rather have the Rams come out of the NFC West or the Cardinals. I actually think that the way that the division is right now is probably, it should be flipped. As far as game one of the playoffs, who the best teams are. I really just don't have a lot of faith in Seattle. Personally, what do you guys think the way the division's shaking out? Seattle's probably going to make it if things keep going this way, and the Rams and the 49ers and Cardinals are not going to be involved in the playoffs.
Think about Seattle's remaining schedules. They probably are. If they're playing the way they've been playing, they might only get one more win when they see the Bears in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They got Packers, Vikings, Bears, and Rams.
So they got a tough schedule. That helps out the Niners. It's pretty much.
But the Niners also, in my opinion, have the second toughest schedule in that division.
Yeah, we got some tough games.
We got Rams, Dolphins, Lions, and Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to come down to that Rams, Seattle last game of the season, because the Rams have the tiebreaker right now.
Yeah.
So if they go in there, beat Seattle,
I think the Rams are going to take this division.
Yeah,
especially the way they played yesterday.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they do. And like I said, that's just a team that you don't want to play. I think the Rams are deadly. And honestly, if the Niners, with everything that's went on, I'm just saying, if I could have it my perfect way, one representative from your division goes. You want it to be a representative that, to me, I want it to be somebody. It's not like right when the playoffs start, I root against the Rams. It's kind of maybe the opposite. I kind of hey, that's who we play all the time in order to show that our division was competitive. I hope the Rams do okay, but
they're a good team to watch. And they're fun to watch when they're there playing.
42-44.
Yeah.
You get a Josh Allen game like that, he just has to keep scoring.
Yeah.
But it looks like the
Cowboys,
what happened here? Did they score?
Dowdle just ran like a 20-yarder.
Okay, and it's 10 to,
inside the red zone.
10-17. The Bengals are winning here. This is kind of a meaningless game, but we did talk about it a little bit. I think it's a disappointment, but
meaningless. Yeah, this is fantasy football heaven.
Oh, fantasy football heaven! Look at, they got a picture of Dak Prescott. He's drank 6 waters during the telecast right now. He got 6 waters. But before we go, real quick, we are going to hit up our Who's Your Dog? That's the final segment we got where we're just going to pick some underdogs here really, really quickly. I'm
Pittsburgh
getting the hand
Steelers.
All right,
5.5 for the Eagles.
Ooh, I like that. Pittsburgh. Yeah, I got them too.
I'm going to go Bills. They're +2 versus the Lions. I think the Bills going to take it.
I like that one. Bills. Yeah, I like that.
I'm going on a big limb.
All right, let's go.
I'm saying the Browns over the Chiefs at home.
Really?
Yes.
The Chief haters strike again.
I'm gonna pick against the Chiefs because they're gonna lose that coin toss one of these days.
Yeah. All right, Browns versus Chiefs.
Hey, they did it earlier in the year with the upset over Pittsburgh at home.
Yes.
Mine was gonna be the Bills too. I think the Bills. I think that's gonna be a good game. Bills versus Detroit. That'll be definitely be one that we got to talk about next week too. Big powerhouses.
There's some really good games this week.
Potential Super Bowl matchup.
Potential.
That's what we'd kind of like to see. That's the fan Super Bowl. But we're watching the game here. Thank you guys so much for coming. We'll come back next week. Huddle Up on 93Q.